Plank. Presented by Jeep continues right now on ABC Action News Now.
Hi again, everyone. I'm John Sable alongside Greg Allman sitting in for Tom Korn. You're watching The Plank presented by Jeep here on ABCActionNews.com. Greg sitting in for Tom Korn, who you can follow Greg at Greg Allman. And he is your Buccaneers beat writer for the Tampa Bay Times. Everything you want to know about the Bucs, give him a follow. Or if you have any questions, we're taking your phone calls and tweets here till 8 o'clock, 813-367-0171. Or if you want to tweet us some questions using the hashtag ThePlank. Our segment now, we have a new segment for the first time this week. It's called Truth or Fantasy. I'm going to ask Greg a series of questions, and then you, the callers, too. If you have any want to jump in on this, give us a call. You could use the hashtag as well, ThePlank on Twitter. And I have about 10 questions here, and I can think of more if you go through these quick, right?
Sure.
But feel free, Buccaneer fans out there, to interject and give us your opinion as well. And then, of course, remember later on in the show, we're also going to be having who's going to be walking the plank, too. So our first question in Truth or Fantasy, Greg, Truth or Fantasy, we will see another blowout loss of 20 points or more this season.
With 10 games left and some strong opponents left, you think about still facing New Orleans again, still facing the Falcons again, Cincinnati's in there, Green Bay's in there. I think there will be at least one. Yes, that is truth. There will be at least one loss for the Bucs of 20 points or more.
All right, let's go to our first caller of the evening. We have Mike on the line, and he wants to give his input on who he thinks should walk the plank. Hey, Mike, where are you calling from?
Brandon.
Who do you think should walk the plank this week?
I think it's got to be Lovie Smith. I mean, a coach is in charge of the preparation that his team makes for an opponent. And, the team had been close. They beat the Steelers. They come close to beating New Orleans. And all of a sudden, it's like maybe they started sniffing their own press clippings or whatever the case may be. But the fact of the matter is that team was not prepared. You go out and grab a beer out of the refrigerator and you're down 14-0 before you even sit back in the seat, and then it's like a track meet. Guys are lined up wrong. People aren't on the right side of the field. I mean, it's got to be him. He's got to take it. It's it's a pro team, and your preparation is all based on what the coach thinks.
Well, Mike, everything you said there, you had a lot of good points there, because you're right. You get up to go get something to drink, and the games are out of hand, and they should be better prepared for that. Greg, do you agree with Mike, what he had to say, and what do you respond to that question?
Oh, no, Lovie Smith will tell you. I mean, he'd be the first one, well, as long as they get back on the boat a week later, he'll be the first one off the plank after that game. I mean, that's not the way they want to be playing football, certainly on the defensive side, which is the side of the ball that Lovie Smith's background is in. That's what he's going to take the most pride in, to just not be able to stop somebody going down the field 6 times in a row. To where it's a victory when you hold them to a field goal to make it 38-0. That's not the brand of football he wants to bring to Tampa.
And I think a lot of Buccaneer fans are getting a little frustrated. 1-5, not good. All right. Thank you for the call, Mike. Our next question in Truth or Fantasy, Greg, Doug Martin will have a 100-yard rushing game from this point on in the season.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's reasonable. Again, there's 10 games left, and they've got to find the identity of their running game right now. And part of that's going to be who their main primary running back is, and that's still Doug Martin's job to lose. I think he's got to move quickly to get back to the form he had that rookie year 2 years ago, because not only is he competing with Bobby Rainey, and in 2 more weeks he's competing with Charles Sims. I mean, I'm sure he's aware they used a high draft pick on a running back when they had a lot of other needs. They think very highly of Charles Sims, so he's got to hold off the challengers on his own roster. But no, I think Doug Martin, given a full season, has another 100-yard game left in him this year, yes.
Yeah, a lot of people are already saying, and I've seen this on Twitter, people have told me, oh, Doug Martin's a bust. It's too early for that. He was injured last year. He had a great rookie year, not a great fantasy year this year, and he hasn't played well, but there's a lot of different variables. I also agree with you on that. I think, truth, you will see at least one 100-yard rushing game for Doug Martin at some point this season. All right, Truth or Fantasy, our question number 3. The Bucs will have more penalty yards than rushing yards against the Vikings coming up next week.
I will. A week ago, this might have been a different answer, but for the Vikings, I will say more rushing yards than penalty yards. They had that disastrous game 2 weeks ago where they had 15 penalties for 113 yards. One thing that did go right for the Bucs in the Ravens game is less penalties. I think they had 5 flags for 43 yards. That's more what they'd like to have. If you set 43 as the number to beat, I think they can certainly rush for more than 43 yards. So I will say they will easily rush for more yards than they're flagged for against the Vikings next weekend.
Yeah, you would think that would obviously be the case, but sometimes you look back at the Saints game
Never know.
and the struggles. You never know. Hopefully that is wrong. I also agree it's going to at least take some time, but they'll do that. Question number 4, truth or fantasy, Greg? Doug Martin, sticking with the running game here, is still the long-term first-string running back for the Buccaneers in the near future?
That's a good question, and I don't think we know the answer to that one. I certainly couldn't say that's truth right now. If I had to pick one person, I'd say it's him still. But no, Doug hasn't shown himself to be a consistent running back, a dominant running back at all yet this year. Didn't even have 100 yards for the season going into Sunday's game. So no, he has to establish himself. He has to learn this new offensive line that he's still getting adjusted to running behind. Really, I think I expected a lot of Doug as a pass-catching running back in this offense as well, and we really haven't seen that. He had one nice catch in the last game that got negated by penalty, but we really haven't seen any glimpse of Doug Martin at the level they want him to be at this season.
And about any of those questions that we were just talking about here, giving a truth or fantasy proposition to Greg, if you, the fan, want to chime in, 813-367-0171 is the phone number. You see it here scrolling the bottom of the screen along with the hashtag #ThePlank on Twitter. If you have an opinion, if you want to know or give your suggestion on who could be walking the plank this week, we'll reveal that at the end of the show. Greg and I have an opinion. We actually agreed on that a little bit later on the show. All right, going back to truth or fantasy, the Bucs will win more than 4 games this year, beating last year's record.
This was a tough one. I will say that is truth. And I say that having seen what happened last Sunday, having seen what they gave up. To get to 5 wins, all they have to do is win 4 of the last 10, and 4 of 6 is still not winning football. I think it would be a step in the right direction. There's still some winnable games on this schedule when you think about teams like Minnesota with a young quarterback, Washington turning the ball over a lot right now. So there's still games they can win. If I had to pick a number right now, I'd probably say 4 or 5. So yes, I will say they will turn things around enough that they'll have a better record than they did last year. And given the start they have, that's a big improvement in the second half of the season.
Yeah, tough schedule, the back end of the schedule, that is. The Saints and the Packers, the Lions and Panthers, the Bengals, of course. It'll be a tough road ahead. We have a couple more questions we can get to maybe a little bit later, but I don't know if you tuned in last week. We had Derek Fournier of whatthebuck.net. He organizes and has a website talking about Buccaneers, and also organizes one of the best tailgates. I don't know if you've seen it over there near One Buck, but Derek was on here. He gave us his voice of the fans, of what he's been hearing and what the fans have been talking about on the website last week. And he gave a great opinions on the Bucs. And our producer, Christy O'Sullivan, had a chance to go to his tailgate last week before the Ravens debacle and got to go see that tailgate. And we want to see your tailgates as well throughout the season. So we'll be looking at Derek Fournier's whatthebuck.net tailgate coming up, which is a pretty cool segment. And I know we don't get a chance to tailgate a lot because we're covering the games.
Absolutely.
And, let's go look at that tailgate right now. Our Christy O'Sullivan, our producer, got a chance to catch up with Derek Fournier, who was here last week with one of the best tailgates you'll see here at Raymond James Stadium.
Hey everybody, I'm Christy O'Sullivan, the producer of The Plank, and I'm here with Jim, the IT guy.
Hi guys.
Nestled behind One Buck Place and basking in the glow of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers flag is the What the Buck tailgate, the largest gathering of Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans, arguably in Tampa, and we're here to check it out.
Hey. Woo! Time to rock the house, baby! We're going Raven hunting!
They arrive en masse, some as early as 7, to the What the Buck tailgate.
Let's go, Bucs!
Yep, they're Bucs fans, and believe it or not, we have a lot of them. Good thing there's something called the Grill-A-Near.
Well, this is called Grill-A-Near. This is sort of the hallmark of the tailgate. We have the largest tailgate, we believe. No one's challenged that yet. But the only Hall of Fame tailgate here in Tampa Bay. We have a ton of food. We eat until the food's gone. We have a wonderful open bar. You drink until the drinks are gone, and we have a great time. But typically, we try and alter the menu a little bit for who we're playing, but you can only do so many different things on chicken wings before you get tired of that.
Okay, now it's actually time for us to bust a move.
Oh, what?
What? What is this, Ravens fans? Yep, that's some purple in there.
Everybody can get it on.
Everybody's very cool.
But this month, there's a lot of pink, too.
This month, we make sure the Crew of Blackbeard's Revenge efforts towards making strides for breast cancer is the first and foremost. So you see it's all pinked out. They even painted the decks in pink as well. Tampa! Tampa!
We are now in the VIP area.
We have a lot of the players' parents and family that come both home and away. And it's a nice spot to get back here for the crew and kind of get away from you saw how busy it is out there. So sometimes you just need to sit down.
So it's about 150 degrees out in the sun. What do you think it is in here?
I think it's probably a solid 94.
How are their fans normally in a situation like this? And fans in general from out of town?
We've been very fortunate. At this tailgate, we have one rule. Don't be, to be honest, we've never had a problem with any fans, except, I'm going to give you one guess.
Packers.
No, the Packers are great. The Eagles.
Can you turn down the heat for us, please?
Sadly, I can't control the weather. If I did, believe me, we would be at 71 degrees. Though with the Ravens wearing black today, I would like it to be about 180.
Well, that just about wraps it up for us over at the What the Buck tailgate. Jim, did you have a good time?
Oh, had a great time. Go Bucks!
If you think you have a tailgate that measures up, email us at newstips@wfts.com. You can also catch us at abcactionnews.com/theplank. See you soon.
See ya!